Welcome at the BIM studio at the BIM World 2019. My guest is Lutz Bettels. He is the VP Central Europe of Bentley. And welcome here on the stage. And yesterday you had a presentation, or today, about digital twins. And what is your approach in digital twins?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me. My pleasure. And indeed, today at the keynote presentation, I talked about digital twins. Our definition of a digital twin basically is that it consists of three major ingredients. The first thing is the context. So a digital twin exists not just on its own in its virtual world, but it is surrounded by a real world context. And you need to capture that context in order to put the digital twin in there. The second part then is that you need components, so intelligent objects that describe that digital twin, all its properties, its condition, and all the things that happened to that digital twin, which is a representation of the physical asset. And finally, the last thing you need is that you basically can access that digital twin from basically everywhere. That you have the context and the components together with the accessibility, and I think that's the way. And the timeline actually that I mentioned before, that you can have a chronology of events that are attached to the digital twin, so that you can look back into time and see what changes has been applied and compare the changes that happen throughout the project. And that's basically our definition of a digital twin.
Mm-hmm. A lot of dimension and also data points you have to collect and you have to consider. So which technologies do you use in your digital twin approach?
Okay, the technologies that we use basically is we use standard BIM technology in order to create, let's say, the initial version of a digital twin. And those can be basically any kind of application, so it's not just limited to our own products. So it's an open environment that allows you to take information from disparate sources, and you'll be able to align that information. So the same object might be described differently in different kind of products. So the first step we do is we aligning this information and then putting this into the digital twin. And with that, and because it is an automated process, the digital twin information is what we call accountable. So you can make sure that you always access the latest information and you have a complete set of information which gives you the certainty to make good decisions in the project. And having that stored in a central cloud service on the internet also make this digital twin information very accessible. So it is easy with any mobile device, with any computer, any application to access this digital twin, pull out the information, run an analysis or run a report and push information back into the twin in an automated way. And that's also possible through an open environment, an open SDK, software development kit that we provide, so everybody can access the digital twin information in an easy and seamless way.
Are you also using a mixed reality approach or artificial intelligence?
Yes, well, the digital twin actually is a very nice playground for finding use cases for all that great technologies that's out there. And indeed, for instance, for the context that we need in order to create a digital twin, we use drone flights, photogrammetry, and point cloud information in order to generate a 3D model, a highly visual reality model that we create. But in the first instance, this is just a blob of geometry. There are no individual objects in there. And in that process, we use artificial intelligence and deep learning technologies in order to identify individual objects into this blob of geometry and make that nice picture, breaking this down into individual components that then can be linked to information in the digital twin database and make that digital twin ultimately intelligent. And this is one example where we use that. Another example is the visualization of the digital twin. And also here we can use latest technologies like mixed reality. We are supporting Microsoft's HoloLens 2, for example, to augment the digital twin that we have into the reality on the construction site, for example. And the difference to augmented reality is that in mixed reality you can also interact with a 3D model that you see in the HoloLens, and you basically have all the information that's contained in a digital twin accessible on site.
Great. So this sounds really exciting. And how can a company implement your digital twin technologies?
So if you want to implement a digital twin, first of all, it is a strategic decision. So if you have plans like that, don't go to your IT department and ask the IT administrator, I need a digital twin, go and make it happen. This will not going to work. In the first instance, you need to decide what you would like to achieve with a digital twin. Is it a quality improvement? Is it speed in the project? Is it data round tripping that you would like to improve? So you have to define the goals, and those goals finally determine your way of how you do that actually. So define your processes. And then at the very last step, the technology is the thing that comes last that you ultimately need to implement the digital twin. One important thing to know is that you are developing a digital twin in a cloud environment. And the change or the difference to a typical software rollout is that you create a solution in small increments. So you're starting with a very simple goal. You go through a short period of development times, which is called sprint, where you're adding subsequently, gradually functionality to the digital twin. And you do this in small pieces. You can start very quickly, very easy, also with a small budget. And you can then gradually improve the digital twin and the goals you can realize with the technology. So that is basically the way to, or an approach to implement a digital twin.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I think it also the use case, or there are, let's say, the requirements for a specific project then also define the technologies you use and how, let's say, complex a digital twin will look like. So yeah, so really exciting stuff. So, and we are really looking forward to also hear your, let's say, next steps, and will you present, let's say, your next digital twin projects at the BIM World 2020 next year?
Yeah, the goal certainly is to be here again. I'd love to do so. And yeah, what we'd like to achieve by then, I think, is that the digital twin is becoming more mainstream. At the moment, it is happening on real-life projects, but it's mostly early adopters. So we hope that the approach, the technology have matured even further, and that we have more people basically taking this up and putting or taking digital twins into life, so that we have more use cases here to demonstrate in a year from now, demonstrating the benefits actually for the end user, for the projects of digital twins.
Thank you very much. So I think this was really, it also helps us to those deep dives. It was a short, but really a deep dive into digital twins, and this will also open up new opportunities, I'm sure. So thank you very much for this talk.
My pleasure, thank you.
Thank you, and yeah, we will hear more about digital twins next year at BIM World 2020 in November next year. Thank you very much.
See you then.